Dear Dhamma friends, today also we are going to have question and answer session. We will invite Doctor to start with the written questions.
First question, dear Bhante, not sure if this question is appropriate for this session. I am income from mutual fund and stock investment, considered as the right livelihood. Is the income from mutual fund and stock investment considered as right livelihood? Since there is a gain in profit on one side, there may be a losing profit on the other side. Thank you.
I'm sorry that I have no any capacity to handle that kind of question. And the proper livelihood is that from the Dhamma point of view, you are not exploiting others, you are not harming others. So therefore, the livelihood is, of course, in a society like this, very difficult to find a completely good livelihood. Even under the situation in India, according to the time of the Buddha, he just gave an example of farmer. Farmer is by their own daily wage, daily working with the land, he earns something. And of course, farming at that time, even they have to harrow the land, and there may be some killing. And the way the Buddha mentioned is, after that flowers and fruits comes, all the other beings also depending on the same thing. So therefore kind of disturbing of the land is there, but ultimately it is helping, giving the multiplier effect for all the other animals also. Therefore farming is the one given, or even then it is being questioned. There is therefore very difficult to say what is the 100% correct or 100% faultless or the flawless way of this thing. Only thing is we have to reduce the burden upon others and consume for utility value. And that is the way you have to balance it. Otherwise, it's very difficult to find a good livelihood. That means there was a book written on the how to live happily, or a way of living. Another person mentioned this teaching indicates whatever the way of living you are living is a kind of a burden to the others. You can't depend on this earth without distracting others. Reduce the distraction as much as possible. So that is the way you have to think. So consuming only for the utility value, and don't explore and don't harm others. That is the way. Otherwise, very difficult to find. That may be the reason I became a monk. I had other opportunities, and later I found living like a beggar is the best way. Otherwise, whatever the justification you are going to give, you know only from your point of view. You don't know the point of view the other side of the party. So therefore, these terms I can understand. Only the thing I can give is the little knowledge I have. The farming, but I doubt the farming in USA is a completely different story. Because I am agriculturist. I have done intensive farming in Sri Lanka. And there I find how much we are disturbing the soil, how much we are using chemicals. in Sri Lanka, what has happened due to the agrochemicals. So the farming itself is, according to the natural way in India, is being presented as an example. But this is, I am not capable in, as indicated in the very first sentence, whether it is appropriate. I may be appropriate from your side, but I am not qualified to answer this kind of thing. I have very limited amount of knowledge.
Can't you do what is best at the time? For example, I don't invest in any stocks, I don't buy any stocks of alcohol-related industries, gambling industries, and weapon manufacturing. I don't do it at all, even though they are very profitable, I don't do it. But when you buy what you call mutual funds, there are all kinds of things in there. You don't really know which one you have in there. So what you can do is to do it to your best of your ability. And if you don't know, you have
what do you mean on these circumstances, the mutual funds?
Right. Yes.
If somebody actually buys
a lot of stocks from
different companies and put it into a pool, and then
you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And also you are not managing directly, so that I don't think you will create any unwholesome things by doing that, because that is the person who is managing is the one who will decide where to put your money, how to distribute your money, and how to give you the profits. As a whole, of course, everybody gains. I mean, that is the purpose. The one who is managing will get the percentage, whether you lose or not, whether the consumer loses or not. He will get his share.
So for my understanding, the stock market is another kind of gambling.
Yes, basically.
So gambling itself is considered as a not fair. But in USA, life is a gambling. The government is a gambler. For my understanding, banking, news media, pharmaceutical industry, and without that, how can you live?
So, excuse me, can you define what is gambling?
The gambling is exploitation. Exploitation.
Yeah.
It's a kind of exploitation. You get the opportunity cost. You get the opportunity.
You don't care whether that man exists or not.
Yeah. So that is what we do in the out of the time in Sri Lanka. The New Year time, even small children go for gambling just for a thrill. But here, the whole life is gambling. Whole.
Yes.
So just if you wish, just read the conspiracy theory and see where can we go and escape. No one, nowhere. And that is exactly what is happening in the third world countries also. Central economy means complete exploitation. And go to purchase, according to the Rajanish, you go to the market and you see this thing is profitable and you invest upon this means the gambling.
Because even if you put the money in the bank invests money in a lot of stock market too.
So but my question is actually, Bante, this, whether you get involved in gambling or not, but can you become an arahant?
That is why it says that for the understanding, there should have a taste of solitude. There should have a taste of isolation. Otherwise, living in the society itself is, you are answerable to the whole society, as far as you are a member of it. So you must have your personal life, you must have your solitude, you must have a leisure, you must have a peace of mind. So while you are going into this kind of thing, you are more and more investing your leisure, or not the solitude, in terms of money. So the Buddha says, Bhajanti siddhanticha karanatta niskarana dullabha ajamitta attatta panya asuchi manusa eko chare kaggavisana kappo. If you go to the Sutta Nipada, Kaggavisana Sutta, the last poem, it says, Bhajanti sevanticha karanatta. Whenever we are associating someone, whenever we are depending upon someone, that is for the utility value. There is no mere association. It is association for the gain. Bhajanti sevanti chakarana. Nikkarana dullabha ajjamitta. The association for the sake of association, for the without the financial gain, very rare in this world. Attata panya asuchi manusa. Man is always thinking in terms of money. It is bullshit. That is bullshit, asuchi. People can't think beyond that. Because we have been trained from age 6 up to so much of our beautiful life. How to earn more? Attata panya asuchi manusa, ekochare kagavisana kappu, knowing that, get rid of this bullshit. Madhouse, live solitude. So try to live inside this one and to find solitude, find pleasure, find peace is something impossible in this life. So therefore, only 2 books I read in my knowledge. Zarathustra, the Nietzsche, he has written a book, Thus Spake Zarathustra. And Zarathustra is an enlightened being, founded the Parisi religion, and he was living in a fully solitude top of the mountain. And ultimately he contemplated and said, a person like me, live with the trees and the sun and the moon, no use, I must go to the fish market and try to live in there. So he justified, after the enlightenment, to go to the fish market and how to live. And step by step he is explaining justification, sacrificing his solitude after the enlightenment and come to the fish market. The other book it says, Jonathan Livingston Seagull by John Buck, is a seagull, the fly, the bird, becoming enlightened after going to the deep sea without looking at their fork. And after the enlightenment, I have to give a general terms, he rationalized, I must go back to my fork. The seagulls, they will kill me, they will kick me out. But anyway, I must go there and live with them. And he justified, reason it out after the enlightenment, how can I go with that, live with that breakfast fork? And when you are reading these books, goosebumps coming. After the enlightenment, come back to the common folk. And you can understand, you have to understand how much effort these characters took effort to get out of the society and get the enlightenment. And after the enlightenment, justifying one's own being with this breakfast folk. Morning to evening, grumbling, fighting, exploiting, madhouse. So therefore, if you wish to have enlightenment in this madhouse, cannot. That is why the business Buddhism in America. American Buddhism is called business Buddhism. Everything money. Everything money. So if something I'm going to give free of charge, no one comes. Because they feel something wrong.
They think you have ulterior motive.
Yeah, you have another agenda. So that is why people like, we are bumpkin coming from the village in the Sri Lanka and come and live here. It's another kind of exposure to see what kind of a balance in their minds, what kind of a balance in their economy, what kind of a balance in their society, what kind of balance in their politics. Utter rotten, bullshit, madhouse. It is very rare to find an American who do not know about that, but they somehow or the other manage to live it here, justify with one or the other ways. But being compromising like that, how to find a peace of mind? So these questions. And I can remember when I was in Panditaram, one lady from Canada, he was a doctor, she was a doctor, and coming and telling the dirty things they are doing as doctors. And explaining in front of Sayadaw. And he told that due to the livelihood I have, it's considered as a very decent job. But I know, and then only I in search of Buddhism. But I am happy to tell you, Bhante, she was telling Sayadaw, not that I went in search of Buddhism, Buddhism came in search of me. It was the only answer for this inherent question I had, the way of livelihood we are living. But you can't escape. The trap is so well designed. No way you can escape. From the birth to the death, it is being monitored. It is predestined. You must do like this, otherwise you will be put into jail or taxed. Everything is designed. This is what the capitalistic system. We have no other alternative. Only way is, don't believe this. This is a kind of a camouflage. It's a kind of something sickness in the mind. Instead, have your own solitude. And my simple example and my simple advice is, whatever the corruption in the world, your solitude cannot be distracted if you know what does it mean by solitude. If you do not know, if you go and ask society, you are said mad. They don't know. So therefore define what does it mean by mindfulness, what does it mean by contentment, what does it mean by be here and now, and no one can destroy you. Because you are not belongs to any organization. Whenever you be here and now, you're completely independent. No one can influence you. Unless otherwise your crazy desire and your ignorance. Each and everyone with the birthright, at any moment, we can come back to here now I am. That is our human right, according to my definition. So the Buddha is given the way out, but our desire, the grasping nature and our ignorance is always pull us into society. Pull us into the society. We get plugged into the society. But I think mindfulness is more powerful than that. I think the present moment is more powerful than all this, the economic, social, political and social formulas. So trust on that, being here. And once that is being tested, you may find easier in other places than in USA. Because you are tested in the very good ground. But I don't know how to analyze this kind of thing because these terms I can't understand. So therefore, we will go to the next question.
Okay. Dear Bhante, in the sitting meditation, I notice the breath, in-breath and the out-breath. Sometimes the in-breath feels cooler than the out-breath. Sometimes my mind wanders off to other thoughts and come back. After a while, I feel both the in-breath and out-breath shortens, and how I feel it at the tip of the nose is not so strong. I reach a point where I don't feel either the in-breath or the out-breath anymore. But quickly it passes and I feel all the other distractions stronger. Sounds, thoughts, pains in my knees. If I take a breath forcefully, here the breath is long and strong, as if I just started meditating just now. But focusing is much harder now that I feel the other distractions, sounds, pains, etc. more. If I try not to take a breath forcefully, I feel uncomfortable as if short of breath and my body feels heavier, and then I feel the breath again. But it's longer and stronger. Either way, I have to start all over again, and it's harder to focus. How should I proceed if this happens again? Could you please advise? Nissarana.
I can make sure it is going to happen again and again. Sure. And therefore, that if the person is ready to answer my cross questions, the dialogue will be very enlightening, provided that particular person is volunteering to answer my questions. The first and foremost question is in the second, related to the second sentence maybe. It says, when I am focusing on the in-breath, it's cooler, and again mind wanders off. When again the wandering mind come back to the object. So I would like to know the return journey from the distracted mind to your primary object. Is it something voluntarily happening, involuntarily happening, or you do it? That is the part I would like to have a feedback. Would you mind to come here? Yeah. You may take a seat. My question is, you have written. It is much not related to your essay, but you have already written. It's a very good point for others, as for the sake of discussion. It says you feel the in-breath cooler, and you are dead sure this is in-breath, and then mind wanders off, and then you report again the mind, the wandering mind, come back to your primary object or your meditation. This return journey is due to your request, or you are pulling mind back, or it is happening voluntarily, automatically.
It usually takes a while for me to notice that it has gone.
No, you are not speaking to the mic.
It takes a while for me to notice that I'm not thinking, like I'm thinking something else. So when I notice that, I try to find the breath again, and then I say it.
Did you hear everyone? So I am repeating for the sake of recording. So you know your primary object, that is to be with the in-breath and out-breath, and while you are sure that is in-breath, is cooler, it is in that and this, and all of a sudden you know the mind has wandered off. And it takes time you to understand the mind wandered off. When it is wandering off, once the mind gone off, who tells you, what sense tell you something wrong somewhere?
I feel it. So I'm thinking about something else, and then I feel, okay, this is not the breath that I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about something else, so I should focus on the breath. And I think that
My question is specific. You know, as far as your effort is concerned, the correct effort is concerned, your main aim to be with the breath. But now it is not happening, it is gone out. Now gone out, and who is reminding you, or which faculty of sense is reminding you that I am not in the correct track?
like the mind itself, I think, like I'm thinking, it's the thinking that tells me, okay, this is somewhere else, and I'm not thinking about, or I'm not seeing the breath anymore, and I feel like, okay, I should get back to the breath, and then I look for it, and then I feel the breath again.
So you have two mics, of course. Now you see, there's two kinds of mindfulness. If I have to put the mindful, one thing is you know you are in the primary object, you are mindful. There's another one says you are not in the primary object, you are mindful. Okay? So which one is better, you think? More efficient? I am repeating, there's a one mindfulness says I am in the breath, it is cooler and kind of thing. That is what your formal mindfulness. And there's another mindfulness, as you mentioned. Whenever something goes wrong, it says something wrong somewhere. And out of these two mindfulness, if I am excused to use the term in both the ways, which mindfulness is more efficient, which mindfulness is more hilarious, which mindfulness is more radical?
The one that says it's gone away.
So that her idea is that whenever you go away, but still if that is telling you, report back telling something wrong somewhere, that is more efficient. Is that, or the telling that you are in the track and that mindfulness, or we are off the track and you know you are off the track, which mindfulness is more efficient? More radical, more revolutionary.
If you know you are mindful when you are practicing, when you know you are in track, then you can keep at it.
I am defining, I try my best to define two kinds of mindfulness. Out of these two, which one is more efficient, more radical, more revolutionary?
The one that tells you, okay, you've shifted, but you should, when you understand that you're not in your breath.
Yeah, that is, if I am repeating, if I am correct, the mindfulness which reminds you and tells you something wrong somewhere. Who gave you that mindfulness? Your parents or your books or your experience? Which one created that mindfulness, installed this software in your computer?
It's more like my experiences.
Your trial and error. This is the best of your whole life. Not the mindfulness bloody thing talking about I am mindful on the breath. That's any robot can do it. But this one very thing, telling you are not mindful. And still it reminds you, that is the what you can't purchase. That's a you can do by rational thinking. You can't give it to someone. Your parents can't give it to you. That you have to understand through your trial and error. When we are trying to be mindful in the formality, something above, there's another shade is training. Whenever you are not in it, that is also being noted. And that is the only way to Nibbana. But we regret thinking that my mind has gone off. That means we are not appreciating that radical mindfulness. We are not appreciating that rational, revolutionary mindfulness. So therefore our rational mind is always against the Nibbana. You have to be radical. You have to be dangerous. Otherwise, no Nibbana. So therefore, whenever you try to be formal in one particular appointed object, that is materiality, in-breath, out-breath, rising, falling, left, right, that is kind of a learning arithmetic like. While it is happening, you don't know, unless otherwise you really original. I think it's only the matter of Buddha. No one can understand. But the Buddha is telling, darling, when you are trying to be mindful here, you don't know there's another guardian, another kind of a reflection is happening. Whenever it is not there, that is also being mindful. And that is the only thing, radical reflection, leading to Nibbana. So therefore, again and again, whenever possible, bring the mind to the primary object. And whenever it is going off, there's a kind of a signaling effect, a sixth sense, or telling something wrong somewhere, and you will understand, if you are to appreciate it, moment you comes to know that I am not on the primary object, immediately mind come back to the primary object. So that is the endowment. That's a gift. No one is appreciating. Everyone wanted to be directly in the primary object. Whenever it is going off, they are worrying, they are making complaints and telling that I am inferior, my mind is running. Unless otherwise such a mishap happens, how can you appreciate that kind of your own created mindfulness, radical and revolutionary? One thing is, that is not what you develop, it is a kind of an endowment, it's a kind of a gift. Soon you come to know that I am not in the mindfulness, immediately mind come back to the primary object, that is the gift you get. If you are worrying about going out, you will never entertain the coming back journey. You must be completely open. Let the mind to play hell, no problem. You know, whenever necessary, I know where is my refuge, where is my oasis, where is my security. You bring back, and after a while, it self-starters mechanism start. Soon you go out, mind is so irrational, run away, never mind. And at a time, it clicks. Moment it come back home. And the return journey, you and the Buddha is the same. Anyone's return journey is the same. But no one appreciates it. To appreciate, you must be open to mistakes. No otherwise. So this is the part we call vipassana. Focusing the attention on one thing is utter samatha or concentration. You can do it. Is even the cat is behind the rat, it is exactly the same. Nothing special, it is nothing human. Nothing extraordinary. The only human is when it's gone off, and still if you are unshaken, there's another safety mechanism to come back, and rat and the cat do not have that. No, they are not all up to that level. This is the point Buddha is taking to write the program on vipassana. But very difficult to communicate. No one believes, unless otherwise you pinpointed. Everyone wanted to be throughout in the primary object. That is so boring. It is bullshit. Let go it, no problem. And try to see how nice it is understanding by itself and coming back to the object. Each time it comes back, you feel refreshed. You feel rejuvenated. More and more it happens, more and more you become energized. But after the discussion you can test it. You can go prepared, then it's more hilarious. Then the meditation is a hobby, not a task force. It is not a regimentation. You let the mind to play hell. Of course, you are the pointed object. You try to be with it and play hell. And again, with the comeback, you are the one to appreciate it. And then more and more you go there, less and less regret about running out. And therefore, each and every mistake, make a point to be glad. Each and every dark cloud has a silver light. But so far it would have happened, but you don't know how to appreciate. You don't know whether it is something to be appreciated. So in the discussion, only that can happen. You can't find it Dhamma talks. You can't find it books. You can't listen to the conventional teachers. It has to be through a dialogue only. One day you will understand. But one good thing, I will assure you, once you come across, that cannot be erased from your mind now. Ever increasing, you are always pushing to Nibbana. You may do 1001 mistakes, no problem, but this cannot be redo. So this is what we expect in a retreat, just to give their own confidence. Through 1001 mistakes, let the mind run away. That is the way it has been trained, that is the way it has been accustomed. Now the Buddha is there. Don't worry about that. Whenever comes no, bring back to your source. Later you may find it's automatically happening. And therefore, later you may check whether it is happening only in sitting. And one day easily you can understand that can happen easily, equally in walking, equally in day-to-day activities, equally in your multitasking back at home, equally when you are fighting each other, equally when you are arguing with another one, equally someone is suppressing you, equally you are suppressing someone. This principle is not belongs to the time and space. It's beyond. And then only you can say, this mistake of going out is not my intention, not my volition. This is not the thing I sat there. Something, a natural outcome. And the good part of it is, end of that story is a reason to be glad. If you know how to look into in the correct perspective, and then let it go. Under such circumstances, mind loses its tendency to go out. There's no use of, because you are not worrying. Simply you are not worrying, so therefore mind loses the trick. Ultimately you find it is gone out or here it's equal. And when it is happening, you have more and more chances to be with your primary object. You can see chronological changes in the primary object more than yesterday. And when it is happening, only one thing can happen. The primary object ceases to exist. It becomes medium, subtle and subtlest. And again, as you try to explain, again, thoughts, sounds, everything appear like, and just like one episode is finished and the next one started. And there also the Buddha mentions specifically in the Anajasappaya Sutta, where everything is becoming again shaky and a lot of objects and a lot of lack of mindfulness, a lot of wandering. You may notice the disappeared mind, the breath again appears. And then take this as again your primary object and focus upon just like a beginner. Just like started now. And again the same story, but this time the calming down process is much faster than the first time. And again it distracted, again calm down, again distracted. It is going like a bed spring. Starting with a very big round and ultimately it is going down towards a one-pointedness, and it is going number of rounds. Imagine within one cycle, one sitting, you can go for 10 to 12 cycles of that. At a time it is distracted, at a time it is calm and quiet. Again distracted, again calm. And then mind will assimilate the formula. Whenever it is calmed down, it is bound to distract. Whenever it is distracted, it is bound to calm down. Without your effort. And you are no more worried. It is calmed down, you know it is definitely going to distract. And when it is distracted, definitely you know it is going to calm down. Only the thing is persistent observation. Regularity in your observation. Don't arrive at a decision halfway through. The one night will never end with one dream. 1,001 dreams. So let that happen in the early part, your forking fingers is much. But towards the latter part, maturity, you don't worry. You let everything happen in the cause and effect way. And when it's happening, you find it's a matter of time. Whenever goes wrong, you must know basic criterion how to put back into the road. And again, it is going wrong. So once you sympathize this kind of a life, this kind of irrelevant way of mind, mental setup, then only you can understand why other person is doing all bad things. We ourselves are not sympathizing ourselves. We are utterly torturing. We never sympathize our mistakes. So how can we sympathize the neighbor? Never. Never. So this is the way you are going to cater for, going to digest, going to stomach, all mistakes. Because they are happening not due to your intention, there is something happening. So you let everything happens, because it has its own cause and effect relationship. If you wish to see the cause and effect relationship, don't interfere into this. Let the cause and effect happen. It is not according to your will, your wish, your desire. But this is something justified by itself. Only under the light of mindfulness. So therefore this, what you explain is exactly the healing process in the mind. But only the lacking point is experience. Let it happen again and again. Don't limit it to the sitting meditation. Don't limit it to the meditation centers. Sitting and walking, everywhere, it's exactly the same pattern. Exactly the same pattern. The most important thing is your way back home. The way back home, no maleness, no femaleness. No ordained, no non-ordained. No educated, non-educated. No infant, medium and old age. No Buddhist, no non-Buddhist. Because it is already natural process. You are just witnessing. Until that you understand, you have sectarianism in your mind. I am a male, I am a female, I am better off, I am worse off, and all the kind of thing till you understand the way back journey. Way back journey exactly like equal to the Buddha as well as to you. Understand? Would you mind to put your understanding into the mic with your words? How did you understand?
That's a good idea. Just talk to me.
So I guess the lesson is like, even though I have a primary object, I should focus on it, but it's always...
Speak louder.
So the lesson I think is, even though I have a primary object, it's on my mind is always going to wander off and go to other distractions. But the thing to learn is that I need to realize that, and once I realize it will always come back. So it's the nature of not doing anything wrong. The mind will always wander. But my job is to watch it, like observe that it has wandered, and if I observe it, it will always automatically come back to the primary object. So, like in meditation or in other, in sitting, walking, or in like day-to-day activities, when I'm mindful, my mind will always try to wander off to other things, but I should make a point to realize when that happens, and that way it will come back, and that's what I should keep doing over and over again. And once once the mind wanders, I should realize that. So it's about observing it, and it'll come back, and I should keep just practicing that.
If I am to add a little bit, with the practice increases, maturity comes, the detection that I am not mindful, also automatic. You are not there. It is becoming your endowment. Naturally it comes, no, that is what we call practice. There is something you are inbuilt in the system. So that is what you call the healthy shame and the healthy fear. When something goes wrong, the healthy shame and the healthy fear take care and come and alarm you, and so immediately it make the way back. And you are just witnessing. The early part is you appear like guilty, you feel like something wrong, and your precepts are not well maintained, your mindfulness not maintained, your faith gone, and everything at sixes. But later you may find that is, as you mentioned the last, to the regular practice, going out is the nature of the mind. And understanding is due to your endurance for a long time. Naturally you come to something wrong somewhere. Immediately mind comes back. So therefore everything appear like an inbuilt system. It has become your second nature. So much you have to practice.
And next question, dear Bhante. The body scan seemed to be a powerful tool for me.
Yesterday we shared.
I think yesterday. Sorry about that. Dear Bhante, how important are... That's also the... I think we have one. This may not be good. Respected Bhante, sitting meditation, somebody. I would like to report my experience, I would like to report my experience in sitting meditation in point form, and respectfully request your comments and advices. Number one, after noting in and out breath for a short time, my mind moves to an empty, dark and still space. it stays there for a significant period of time. You want to go one by one or?
You will keep on.
Okay. Number 2, occasionally mind wanders but comes back to that empty space. Number 3, I started with my right hand on the left, but I noticed my hand now have moved about 1 foot apart on my lap. Number 4, time to time I felt...
That I don't understand.
It says I started with my right hand on the left, but I noticed my hand now have moved about 1 foot apart on my lap. I think probably the hand moved away without the knowledge. If it is different, you can explain. Time to time I felt a force moving my hands away from each other. I once opened my eyes to see whether my hands are moving and realized they are apart but not moving. Number 5, occasionally the shape of the empty space changed in 2 ways. It grew large with a feeling of lifting, straightening of upper body, or it shrank small with the feeling of squeezing or shrinking of the body. Since that too much activity in the mind, am I practicing correct? Question. Please advise. Thero.
I think the early discussions also somewhat answering some of the questions. Our mind usually can see only existing positive, the positive side. But even in the science, they have understood, they are now realizing each and every particle has its own shadow particle, so which is not conceivable to any machine, any equipment, but without that counterpart, there's no balance. So the mind is always taking what is existing, what is presence. But each and every presence, there's a negative non-existence. This we have never seen, we don't know, it appears like a funeral. It appears like a calamity, it appears like a disaster. So whenever you see that the negative side, we become reactive. But in the meditation, the Buddha says, something positive, tangible object, asks one to look into long time, and when it is disappearing slowly, you don't know the negative side is increasing slowly. When the object is completely almost gone, you are in emptiness, and that is a funeral. That's a very dangerous thing for the positive minds. So therefore, you can trace back with respect to positive, the gross object become medium and then subtle and subtlest. When it goes to the subtlest, you are in the vast dark hole or dark matter. But a good thing is you know the path. And again, matter comes into being. And again, if you are patient enough, you can meditate upon the matter. Again, when it ceases to exist, again the darkness happens. So therefore, have and have not work in mutual way. Later, when you are slowly accustoming, training this into that, you may find the beginning of the out-breath is empty, and middle of the out-breath is full of action, and the end of the out-breath also again empty. So therefore, if you are following the beginning to middle to the end, the same phenomena you can find within one in-breath, within one out-breath. But your mind is not ready, your mind is not tuned, your mind is not subtle. So therefore, you can't find that in-breath to out-breath like small micro models. When the mind much tuned, you can't see so much of breath. 1 or 2 breaths time, everything ceases to exist. So if you are to promote it, or if you to support it, only you have to do is just see the end of the in-breath, out-breath. Then easily you can cut into by 2-3 times, go into the darkness. But that darkness is not complete by itself. It again gives rise to matter, and matter gives rise to the darkness. When it's going there, imagine a point or focused, aimed at a point, mind become equanimous to the have and have not. Matter as well as antimatter. Breath as well as the darkness. Then only, and only then, mind become less and less frustrated. Mind become less and less tense regarding the materiality is concerned. So this is the threshold or first and foremost test in the meditation. This is with respect to the materiality. So when it is happening, you have to promote, if the matter available, something like breath or rising and falling or in the left and the right, keep the track with. And ultimately it goes to the point where unperceivable or everything happen effortlessly. Without your ego, without your drive. And again the matter happens, again it ceases to exist. More and more your custom, it becomes micro level, immediately appearing and immediately disappearing. In order to see this kind of a micro level, you know the art of thin slicing of time. Many frames in 1 second. Our early mind, untrained mind is very, very slow. They do not know how to thin slice. It knows only chunks of time. So later, when the mind becomes very versatile, thin slicing happen, there you find between two thoughts, the darkness is there. Between two breaths, this darkness is there. Between two sounds, this darkness is there. Between two pains, darkness is there. But mind, one thing, not sharp. Second thing, it allergic to see it. It appears like something detrimental. It appears like something negative. So therefore, systematically you have to train with respect to the matter. And later, once that is being well established in the mind can go into the gap between two feelings, between two perceptions, between two volitional activities. So likewise, same thing as it's immaterial thing, you can apply into that. So it is also part and parcel and very important part in your meditation, but they are automatically happening as far as you master the material part. So therefore now it has already started. What you have to do is let things happen and season and master it without much of interference. Then you can see matter and antimatter according to the new terminology. Early terminology, it says sunyata, emptiness versus the matter. But our natural mind, our rational mind is always hating sunyata, hating antimatter, hating the darkness, considering it is a bad omen. That is why the Buddha says, be full of faith, be full of moral conditions, let it happen under the light of mindfulness. Then your braveness, your boldness, your the radicalness, or your revolutionary nature, slowly increasing. More and more you increase, more and more you develop the familiarity with this so-called darkness or emptiness, and there only you find the middle path, never in the material world. So you have to, when and where the material arises in terms of object or sign, and to take it as an object and look into that, it is disappearing by itself. Each and everything has the same nature. So at the disappearance, you become religious, your mind becomes ready for development. As far as it is in the matter, it's utter defilement. In Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 1, the Buddha says, Sanimitta vikkave uppajjati papaka apsala dhamma no animitta. O monks, whenever the defilement arises in mind, it is always appearing with, defilements are coming with signs. Whenever that sign disappears, that defilement disappears. So any sign appearing in the mind is nothing but a defilement. Whether you introduced one or it is acquired one. So therefore consider this and keep an eye on it, see to the end of it. That means you can see by looking at, or it is prepared looking, the breath for example, ceases to exist, that it is gone. That means you know as far as it is gross defilement, as far as it is medium defilement, as far as it is subtle defilement, as far as it is gone, defilement gone. So therefore again it can happen, again the same answer. Later only you can understand the rising and falling, left and the right. Any other activities you do become prominent means defilements are prominent. Don't worry, it is not by getting excited, give nothing. Just observe it. Just be face to face with it. And then that kind of particular object cannot live. Under light of mindfulness, it dwindles to exist. Tapering off. So you have to understand this tapering off is nothing but the disappearance of the very defilement. So therefore, it appears like feelings, perception, volitional activities, or mere matter. So whenever it happens, don't react, just to be face to face, and see its evolution, its metamorphosis, its changes. Changes means something happening. Let it happen, and when you are, as far as you are not forking fingers, it's ever dwindling off, ever disappearing. Once you learn the art, your fear, your uncertainty disappears, your confidence on the mindfulness increases, let the defilements to come, no problem. Your main thing is to be face to face. So this is the thing going to happen. So therefore what I thought of sharing is, have this in your mind, be prepared and go considering this a natural unfolding, and don't give up halfway. Keep on observing. Whether it is full with and complicated with objects or completely calm and quiet, never mind, whenever object happens, you have to keep it in view with and see its disappearance. And don't think that disappearance is everlasting. Again, thing can happen. Don't think that appearing thing is lasting. It is also disappearing. So you understand, appearance and disappearance is interchanged, reciprocal. So that is what we call unshaken mind. And again, as in the early discussion, I would like to say, is not limited to sitting. It is can happen in the walking also, can happen in the day-to-day activity also. But it is happening when and where the dimensions are here, now I am. Whenever it is connected with someone, everything gone. When it is connected to the past and the future, utter defilements. When you are connected with other places, utter defilements. Anything if there is a chance to happen, it is happening here, now I am. So give as much as possible time for the mind to process in this dimension, here, now I am, and don't limit it to the time of the day, don't limit to this posture of your body, don't limit to the moods. This process is independent of everything. But you may be familiar, acquainted maybe in the sitting posture because all the vegetables are fixed and it's more conducive. But it is just for the beginners, and when it is developed, you will put into under different postures, different times, different mental situation, and you reconfirm this principle is the same. So this is, I would say, another representation of the early question in another way. It's very good that we have to understand. Whenever someone experiencing, he or she is experiencing by his or her unique way. But the method is the same.
I think this is the last question. Dear Bhante, thank you for all what you have done for us. Could you please explain mental formations and mental proliferations again?
Mental formations and?
Mental proliferations.
Mental proliferation is usually you can reduce into the three trends. You think how to explore to get the lion's share out of that situation. That's one kind of proliferation. Second thing is one-upmanship, how I can be upper than the other people conceit. The other thing is egotistic. You try to exploit the episode as a boost to your ego. So these three are inherent in the commoner's life. To get the lion's share, to show that you are better off, or you are one-upman, you are in one-upmanship. The third one is egotistic. So therefore, whenever these three are not there, that is called innocence. The innocent mind do not know. Up to the age 6, we were not capitalizing the situation. Up to the age 6, we will not try to show ourselves, I am smarter than others. And don't know whether mother parts and my part, which one is me, which one is not me, do not know. So therefore that innocence is completely blocked by this rational thinking, how to get the lion's share, how to get myself up, putting on the pedestal and start whitewashing. And then egotistic. So therefore each and everyone, as far as they are thinking, they are destroying innocence. But the innocence is not a destroyable thing. It is inherent, but it can't outsmart these kind of dirty things. So these dirty things are called mental proliferation. So each and everyone, master, nothing to teach. Everyone is always thinking how to exploit this situation to get the lion's share. And to show that I am smarter than others. And to say how to give an ego trip. So when and where it is happening, if you can understand it, still you are innocent. But don't let other person to understand it, then there's a court cases. It is fingering into the, poking into the other psychologies. We are not happy. Don't do it. Not for the sake of retreat or the religious, for the sake of social justice. Let that particular person to entertain their own dream. No harm. But it's up to you to understand this kind of thinking is for me either for tanha, to grasp more, or mana, to conceit, or ditthi, that egotistic trip. Not a single thought out of that. So each and every thinking, mental proliferation is filthy, defiled. So therefore the best thing is when and where it is happening without the negligence, without delay, you can understand, this is the smartness. The Buddha says, I can't do it for you, you have to pick it then and there, sooner the better. Mental formations are, that is your volitional activities. You always try to be smarter, creative, productive. You never accept things as they are. The human beings are the worst among the animals. Other animals try to adopt into the nature. Human beings are always changing the nature. So therefore human beings are the dirtiest beings on the earth. It's global warming and the corruptions and defiling the earth, they can't stop it. They know definitely we are going in the wrong way. They can't stop it because it's an addiction. Because we have creative power. That is we call will. That is we call volition. That is we call our productivity. And each and every productive creative power is against the humanity as well as your mental health. And that is the first and foremost, the Arthur Schopenhauer presented to the German philosophical circle, and he's been neglected and he's been cut off, telling he's a nihilist and unproductive person. But the Buddha mentions Sabbe Sankhara Dukkha. Sankhara means mental formation. Each and every mental formation is leading to suffering. Each and every mental formation is leading to anicca, impermanence. So we recite the stanza, but morning to till evening we are creating. And Nobel Prizes, Magsaysay Prizes, everything is being given to that fools, those who are creating. Nothing given to Buddha. Have you ever heard about any degree or any prize given to Buddha who knows everything? Who the hell can give a prize to Buddha? That particular bloody fool must be above Buddha to give something. So therefore the society at large is make ourselves moving, active, burning, both the sides of the candle, and we keep on mental proliferating and mental formations. And in that sense, just think about the present day education. What we are doing to our children, what we are doing to their innocence, giving so much of things to create, productive, so much so they are absent-minded. Imagine, can you do any kind of a creation when you are here and now? As far as you are here and now, no creative. You are just being. You are living. As far as you are creating, you are torturing yourself. You are burning yourself. So that is why the human beings are in suffering. Suffering, that is their hobby. That is their human right. The Buddha says, just be. Just come here and be here and now. And then you can live. No one can prevent. If I decide to be here and now, he has nothing to do. Mind your own business, be mindful. So simple. So therefore, we are masters, there's no difference regarding the mental formations, both are the same. Mental proliferation-wise, even the society is going to discriminate, this special person is brighter and this person is not, no different. So therefore, writing the book, The Mind Science, it says the Socrates and the slave. Imagine 6,000 years back. Both of them are the same from the RNA, DNA-wise. But imagine the society, how much discriminate the Socrates is a full-fledged human being, and the slave is not a soul. But their potentials are exactly the same, innocent one. They are exactly the same, but how much discrimination. So this is what we are training younger generation to have this discrimination, that is proliferating more and more mental formation and mental proliferation. So we are living in our own dream. We are living in our own Maya, or hallucination, or delusion. So therefore, wherever you go, there you are. What you see, that you are. There are few books now written. Wherever you go, there you are. You are bringing your own foolishness and you create your own world according to your formations, according to your proliferation. It is nothing different from a dream. Nothing different from a magic. The Buddha says, mind is a magician. The life is a dream. The moment you wake up, it's too late. It is at the deathbed only you wake up. What drama we had. And now, at towards the death, what kind of preparation? Nothing. Okay, we have taken little more than 1 hour. If there are no any other questions or any other statements, we are going to sum up the question and answer session, and we are going to take time for walking meditation.